Right, welcome back, and our discussion begins right now. And of course, remember the discussion is all about disaster management, the situation on the ground caused by the El Nino rains, and actually there is some, a lot of displacement here, aid needed, humanitarian crisis on the rise. So joining me in this discussion is Peter Murgor. This is the Disaster Risk Reduction Manager at Redcross. Peter Murgor, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. From humanitarian point of view, how dire is the situation, Murgor?
The situation is quite dire because we are talking about, I know you mentioned around 19 counties, but the number of counties has risen from the last time we talked. And now we are looking at about 25 towards 28 counties that are being affected. The northeastern region, that is Wajir, Mandera, Garissa, for the third week now, they're experiencing a cutoff from supplies. They've not been able to receive food. They've not been able to receive anything going into that region, and Red Cross is now having to airlift food. We are talking about other counties coming in. You saw what is happening in Mombasa. The Tana Delta now is becoming active. We heard of mudslides in parts of Meru, the Western Kenya, backflows of the Lake Victoria and downstream River Nzoia flowing down there. So we are talking about 76 people having lost their lives according to the National Disaster Operations Center data. This is government data. And 75,000 households being indicated to have been affected by these floods. So the needs are dire. We are looking at people who are displaced, 35,000 households at least. That is 176,000 people who are affected. We are looking at a situation where people are now not being able to access their medical needs. If people had chronic illnesses, they're cut off from health facilities because of being marooned. We are looking at farms that have been submerged, and that means post-harvest losses of crops. This is the situation, the way it is now unfolding. People are now going into temporary settlement so that they can be housed or they can be able to take temporary shelter. So this is how the situation is unfolding. Dire needs around water, clean water for drinking. Right. During this flood, things like contaminated water because latrines are washed away. There is surface water runoff. So that now predisposes the affected communities to disease outbreaks like cholera and water or vector-borne diseases.
Okay. Well, because most of the time you guys are on the ground for disaster management, at a time like, such help is needed everywhere. Now, the question is, what are some of the challenges or just how difficult is it for you guys to actually, take the needed help to areas and for those, or rather those who are affected the most? So how difficult is it for you guys now, given that some roads are impassable, sometimes even, some counties, areas have been submerged. So what is the situation like?
First of all, to start, and thank you, to start with is the resources to respond. You've raised a pertinent question of the difficulty of the situation. The nature of response that we are seeing right now, first of all, is a large-scale response because we are looking at a nationwide response in the sense that almost half of the counties, when you're talking about 25 to 28, that's almost half out of the 47 counties. So the large-scale needs of resources. But more importantly, is when areas like northeastern region that are cut off, we are having access to
All right. All right, we can't, get your sound clearly, but this is a very important discussion that we are talking about, and at least 29 counties right now have been affected with this El Nino, and remember it was predicted earlier on that we might actually get into this sort of situation. So now the question that many are asking is, the earlier interventions or even the warning that were issued by the Met Department in readiness for this preparation for this particular El Nino rain. So did it, actually sink into the right ears for this, to at least try and avert the already escalated, some sort of humanitarian crisis? And that is the big question that many people are asking. And of course, on that short note, even as we contemplate of this discussion, we are taking a very short break. When we come back, remember the discussion still continues.